Alright y'all, what is going on? Back with another video. Hopefully you guys are having a fantastic day. The day is going pretty good on my end, cannot complain. Had a great weekend. Everybody who came through the live streams, I really appreciate it. You guys were absolutely awesome. We had fun playing Tomb Raider, played a couple of other games as well. I think we played some Need for Speed, and we had some good discussions, so I really appreciate that. If this is your first time here, welcome. Check out the links down in the description. I am on all those other platforms, from Discord to X to Twitch to Rumble. Hopefully you guys check that stuff out. I really appreciate it. All right, let's get into the topic that I want to talk about today. There's a guy on YouTube. Now I don't want to call him out or anything like that, but I just really want to take the time to talk about this because I am in the sports gaming community. That's one of the things I do, and it's something I've talked about for years. I mean, even over a decade I've talked about this, where this guy, I think his name is 2KOG. Shout out to the brother. I never really watched much of his content. I watched a few videos, but there's one video that I saw that really gave me a little bit of a cause to pause and think a little bit. He spent over $32,000 on my team microtransactions. Now, I mean, I'm pretty sure he has the money. That's fine, whatever works for you. If you got it like that, that's cool. I'm not telling anybody how to make their money or spend their money. But that is a lot of money to spend on digital products that you cannot carry over to NBA 2K26, or, you know, when the servers shut down, you can't use them anymore, even in NBA 2K25. So I'm looking at this and like, man, somebody got to say it, and I'm pretty sure it's been said before. It's probably on other people's channels or whatever the case may be. But please be mindful if you are doing these transactions. I mean, I think that's a lot of money to get nothing out of it. I mean, some people say, well, he's a content creator. He's going to make that money back or whatever the case may be. And maybe he will. And maybe he will make that money back. But, you know, but it is still is poor money management skills regardless. At least whatever money you put into it, make sure that you have something tangible in return. And sometimes making the money back in return is not as tangible as you think. Sometimes it's just X amount of money that we put in to come back out, and it might not be enough based on time, based on resources. Sometimes it's not always about that. It's not just a numbers game. You know, so I don't know, you know, like I said, shout out to the brother. Maybe he does, you know, knows what he's doing everything. But when I looked at the video, he seemed like he had a little bit of remorse. And it's just basically back to money management skills. Whatever, you know, you could be a billionaire or whatever the case may be, and you make these type of videos or you make that type of content, and it may be just a drop in the bucket to you, but still at the same time, I feel like that money could go to better causes. I mean, yeah, you want to spend some type of money on your, you know, microtransactions, but I mean, where does the line is drawn? Is there a line drawn? Are you willing to spend $3 million or $32,000 on microtransactions if you got the money? And me personally, like, I don't know. I mean, I just don't see myself doing it, but I don't knock anybody who does it. But I just want to know, like, are you willing to do that? You know, it's just, if you do it, that's cool, but I just feel like at the same time, the money could be put in other places where it is really, really needed or whatever the case may be. Because when I look at it like this, even if I had the money to do it, that $32,000 could go to somebody who's really in need. I don't need a microtransaction from my team, or my team microtransaction that bad. I don't care how much I need it to make content. I don't think and if I do invest $32,000 into making content, it's going to be into some real hardware that I'm going to make the best videos possible, not just some digital stuff that I can't use going down the road. But I don't know. I feel like, you know, I already know that I'm probably going to get some type of feedback with this video, and that's fine. I get it. You know, like I said, I don't wish no ill will on anybody or that brother that's making the content. I think the content is very well spent, but there's a bigger underlying issue that I will get into. This could become some form of an addiction to spend that kind of money on microtransactions. This could be a really bigger problem than just putting money into my team or putting money into NBA 2K. This could be a bigger issue. I've seen it, not with him, but I'm just saying I've seen it with other people who literally had to stop playing the game because of this really big issue of not knowing when to stop spending on these microtransactions. And, you know, this was a big issue even with the Star Wars game. This has been a big issue with Call of Duty, the whole microtransaction and loot box situation. People do have some form of an addiction to this type of stuff, and they end up spending thousands of dollars. I remember when I did my First and Frame Rates podcast with Bills and DJ, and we talked about this one time where we just looked on, I think it was either Reddit or it was like an old EA forum, and people were constantly, yearly, spending up to $7,000 to $10,000 on Madden Ultimate Team. I mean, like I said, regardless if you have the money to do it, as you get older, everybody's going to do this at some point. As you get older, you're going to look back and be like, damn, I did that. And this is what, kind of like this content creator, 2KOG, I think that's his name, he was actually, you know, having those type of thoughts. It's like, you know, at the end of the day, it sounds fun at one point, but once you spend all that money and all that content is, you know, possibly, you know, make money back in return for you. But when you go back and you really look at it, you don't have that content anymore. That's really $32,000 or whatever content that you spent on microtransactions is just going down the drain. Because a lot of these transactions, a lot of this loot box stuff, all of this stuff, you really cannot get it back because the servers are down. You know, so there's a lot of underlying issues here. You got to understand, like, you know, some people make the case, oh, he got the money, this, that, and third. But like I said, it's no way that you make this kind of money and you really would just throw this type of money into something like this. Millionaires and billionaires, for the most part, don't do stuff like that. They don't just burn money like that. And they always try to find a way to actually give it away for a good cause, or they will invest it in something that they're going to try to make money back on in return. Which I think, like, over a year span, you spend that kind of money, he could have built a really good studio setup for his content creating. I mean, I'm gonna be honest, full disclosure before I get out of here, with the money that I've made, not necessarily on YouTube, but the money because I don't make money on YouTube. I don't make money content creating at all. But the money I make doing this job, the money I make like doing side hustles, I put that money back into my setup for gaming. You know? And I've done it a little bit with content creating. Maybe one day I'll become monetized, and that'll be cool. But I put money back into myself to make this type of content. Because at the end of the day, what I really like to do is make the content, and I want to make the content for you guys and talk about gaming, and even on my other channel when I talk about sports, I like to do that type of stuff. And if I get monetized, that's the icing on the cake. It's not a goal. But I want to make the best content possible because I truly love doing this. You know, I truly love doing it. So hopefully he has that same mindset. He really loves doing this. That's why he put that much money into my team. But I don't know. That's a tough sell. I don't know. Shout out to the brother. I'll put his link to his channel down in the description. You guys can check him out. He makes some my team stuff for NBA 2K25. I think he's already trying to get an NBA 2K26. And also I've seen lately he's still making videos about opening up packs. So I don't know how far this rabbit hole will continue to go as far as him putting money into stuff like this. Maybe this is his thing, you know. But that's a lot of money to put into this stuff. It is. It really is. And it's kind of alarming. But hey, to each his own. I didn't want to make this video to throw shade or whatever. But I will say that, you know, hey, to each his own. If you got it like that, that's awesome. But the average person look at that and like $30,000 into microtransactions, that's kind of heavy. That's heavy. Let me know what you guys think. Check out all the links down in the description, including the guy's channel. Go ahead and check that stuff out. I will see you guys on the next video. I will see you guys on the next one. All right, y'all, take it easy. Y'all be blessed. Peace.